Welcome one and all. Thank you so much for stopping by and taking a few minutes to see the flip through of my newest junk journal. Before we get started with this though, I would like to give you sort of a preview of one that I'm working on right now, and it's going to be a farmhouse recipe keeper. And I have more to do in the front. This is just sort of like the beginning of it. And I can just flip through here really fast to show what I have in here so far. It is, I'm using Authentique's paper, and I forgot the name of it right off. But anyways, it's going to be a recipe keeper, just like my 50s one that I sold a few weeks ago. You probably can still catch that video at my channel if you wanted to see that. So this is just to give you sort of whet your appetite, a little bit of what's coming down the pike. If you would like to see the finished product, then please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully in the next several days I'll have that finished and give you a flip through on that one. This is, of course, my Jane Austen junk journal. Absolutely love this. For the first time, I'm using fabric for the cover. Absolutely love doing that because I am a sewer and I do sew products to sell on Etsy. So this is just up my alley to use all this fabric and textile. And as I went through and put her journal together, my inspiration was to choose things that kind of was reminiscent of what she would have seen and what her characters were, what made up their world a little bit. This is a sari silk ribbon closure, button and ribbon closure. I even went online to look at the buttons and see what kind of buttons she may have liked or may have seen in her time. And I had one that was very much like one of those buttons on there. I was so happy to have it in my stash. So this is a tapestry. It's like a warm beige with this light blue thread in here. This is a fabric. This writing here is fabric as well. And I printed her portrait out on muslin fabric. So that is, and then of course the lace, which I ended up having to hand sew in because the glue just wouldn't have been quite right. And the nameplate, and in the nameplate, I downloaded her signature and I put that in here. So I thought that was really tied that off a little bit. And inside, of course, is fabric as well. And the digital kit that I used is from Atrymaze. Beautiful digital kit for Jane Austen. Just absolutely thought it was gorgeous. I believe these are images from like a 1910 or 1920 book that she came across with these illustrations in it. Little beautiful envelope. I made a little booklet in here. Oops. That you can write in. And a chandelier stamp. And then, of course, the tea service. These little cards I got from Kristie Art Designs. And I tried to choose papers in here that were reminiscent of, you know, things, wallpapers and fabrics and you know, different rugs or whatever they may have had, and to kind of represent that a little bit. And I also did stitching with my embroidery stitchings with my machine around the edges of some of them, because embroidery and handwork was a big deal, of course, to their world. There's a journaling tag, and this is a beautiful vintage, I think it's a dresser topping and I cut a piece out of, and I think that this embroidery work, I don't know, just reminded me of what somebody in that period would be working on. Here's another tag, and of course nature, observing nature and being out in the gardens and everything was a big pastime for many of them. Here's another altered paper clip, and this is a vintage piece of tablecloth with some embroidery on it. I tried to distress a lot of the pages, and throughout the different pages I have quotes from her book. To be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love. And so I put the minuet here. It would have been a dance that she would have been familiar with. Of course, music was a big pastime for them as well. Here's another altered paper clip with an envelope, beautiful journaling card on the inside. The papers that I downloaded as well, 4 different sources, and I will put those, list those sources below as well to show you where I got the papers. This is a vellum envelope in the middle of this signature. And here is a tag I created by putting fabric, and this is a fabric. You can feel that it is, but it's hard to see it, onto cardstock, and then went around with my machine and one of my fancy stitches, and then glued on this really beautiful embroidered chiffon flower on top of it. So I think that turned out quite nicely. And here's a large tag with some more journaling cards in there, and another altered paper clip. Piece of lace, and a lovely envelope, and I've stitched around this here. This is scrapbook paper that I stitched together over cardstock. Make a nice substantial journaling card. Maps, I remember the youngest daughter in Sense and Sensibility. She liked looking at the maps. Her name escapes me right now. Here is a little booklet made up there. Some more little journaling cards. Topped off a little bit of fabric. Some more stitching. So I've doubled up a lot of these pages so that you can do some gluing or even some mixed media on them. They would be heavy enough for that. Another altered paper clip. So that's that signature, and we start the next signature. Some more cards here. A little bird. So reading was a pastime for them. This is a vintage needlepoint pattern. Some more quotes. More stitching. There's a little envelope. A little journaling card on the inside. This is another tag. This is actually a fabric. It's really hard to tell, but it's a fabric. Again, mounted onto cardstock, and more. Actually, I used the lining fabric as a seam here and stitched around the outside of it. So it made a really nice special journaling card there. Here's a quote: "Vanity working on a weak head produces every sort of mischief." One from Emma. Yeah, and that reminds me, I just saw Vanity Fair streaming on Amazon, and it's so, so good. I mean, if you like Jane Austen, you're going to like that one. It was written by her contemporary Thackeray, William Thackeray, I believe. So these papers here, like I say, I will list them down. I have different sources that I got them from and combined them up. Another little booklet. Here we go with another altered paper clip. Oh, and I love this paper clip here. This is probably my favorite one. I like the way this one turned out. It's so pretty. This is like a lacy roses on it. And another journaling card. Here's a bookmark. I put a napkin on the back of it, and when I got done, it was like, oh, that feels just like fabric. It's really, really cool how that turned out. Really pleased with that. This is a piece of a vintage doily on the front. And we come to the end. And then there's a pocket here for you to put any kind of extra memorabilia you would like to keep. So that is Jane Austen. It's a beautiful book. I'm so pleased to how it turned out. Perfect, perfect gift for somebody who's a fan of Jane Austen. And it measures about 9.5 this way and about 6 1/4 this way. There are 60 pages or 120 pages if you count both sides in the book. It's chunky, but not too badly. I mean, with this tie, it can definitely grow, and you can definitely put more into it. So if you're interested in purchasing this, my shop is listed below. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about anything here, please either convo me below or at my Etsy shop, whichever. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.